Hello world, my name is Dave and I am a vlogger here on YouTube. I have a channel called Unkle Heavy. That is my nickname and the title moniker that I operate under. I am an adventure vlogger. I typically go out to really cool places and video them. Today I'm doing something just a little bit different. I recently purchased this Canon G7X camera as an upgrade to my vlogging equipment. I purchased it a few months ago and did the unboxing as it came in that day and did do a light test to compare it with the Sony Handycam that I've been using prior to that. Today I'm going a little bit out of my element and I'm going to do an unboxing, a product review, and the light test. If you are new here, I don't typically do product reviews. This is probably a one-time thing. I might in the future, but for the most part, as I said, I am an adventure vlogger. I just wanted to share this with you. If you are familiar with my page, here's the part where I say, no tickets required. Let's go see what kind of trouble we can get into. Do come along.
Camcorder! Mine! No way!
Before I get into the review, I want to just give you a quick little background so you can kind of judge yourself as to where you might be and where I am. I have been videoing subject matter for years. I kind of drifted away from video for a long time and focused on still photography. When I became interested in videoing again, I purchased a Handycam HDR CX405. This was a fantastic camera to use in the outside, and I still have it in my gig bag to use. It takes great video, it shoots in HD, the image stabilization is amazing, it's just a great all-around camera. Unfortunately, I was expanding the things and places where I was doing and where I was going, and the Handycam just did not do well in a low light environment. So I needed to explore and get something that would do better light conditions. In addition to that, when I started concentrating on the video vlogging again, my desire to take stills went by the wayside. I kind of needed to come up with a solution, especially on a long road trip, where I could get a nice mirrorless camera that takes fantastic stills and give me the video vlogging abilities that I wanted. That's where I found in the G7X. So let's take a look at the unboxing and the light test that I did in comparison to the CX405, and then I'll come back and do the review. So here is the FedEx package that was just dropped off to me. I bought it from Amazon. The entire thing with tax was about $541. Let's take a look and see what came in it. Paperwork. And now this was supposed to come with an 11-piece accessory kit. Looks like this is a small camera case. A Vivitar spider tripod. This would be good to have in the camera bag in case I need to wrap it around something. It's always good to have a spare. Deluxe starter kit. Okay, we'll tear that apart and see what that's all about. Alright. Look at that. 64 gigs SD card. So yes, this is what they call the import model. It looks just like the packaging that would come in the US, except it's has some sort of language. I'm not entirely positive what that is, but it looks like a pretty good Canon box. Let's take a look inside. Manual. Charging cable. It's like a stock Canon battery. You need to understand that the whole gray market, the research I've done on it is these products are basically the same exact products they market in the US, but they are not marketed for Canon USA. They are usually marketed for other regions in the world. The only disadvantage being that they do not come with a warranty. So should something happen in 1 year, you'll have to pay for it out of your own pocket to repair, which the savings was about $150, not including the accessory pack as well. Same thing with the charger. I guess it looks genuine. But behold, the Canon G7X Mark II. And now I have one too. It feels pretty good. It's kind of heavy. I mean, not terribly heavy, but feels kind of sturdy and well built. This is what the feature that everybody seems to be sold on is the flip-up display screen for vlogging. I believe it tilts down 45 degrees too for overhead shots. Feels pretty good. Oh, look at that. Well, so that's it out of the box. Unfortunately, right this second, I have to go to work. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and leave this here for now. Later on, I'm going to play with it and see what kind of video I can get from it. And I'll post it up here on this vlog. So that's what it looks like so far. Again, we'll get some other shots in there and see how it looks. We're doing side-by-side comparison of the two cameras. Filming and filming. So this is the pretty good light source in here. Let's go over here. Oh yeah, the light is definitely better on the Canon, without a doubt. Now let's go into super dark. There's the night light. Okay, the Sony is focusing. It's just taking a little bit more time. Let's see how we're doing in a low light situation. Oh yeah. The Canon, at least on the display screen, Canon seems to be hitting the low light situation much better. So that was a pretty cool unboxing, wasn't it? And the late test, you got to see a little tour of my house and my basement, so kind of cool, huh? So this is it. This is the G7X Mark II. I did purchase it back in January. I have been able to make a couple of vlogs with it now and take it with me on vacation. And the general consensus about this camera is I absolutely, positively love this camera. It takes amazing videos. It takes, where I'm surprised is how you can switch it to still mode and the stills are just phenomenal. So let's cover a few things. One, price. I paid about $501 before taxes with this. The model I purchased is called a gray market camera or an international version. I touched on it in the unboxing to make a very, very long story short. What it is it's a piece of equipment that is not manufactured for retail in the US. So that sounds kind of shady and it sounds kind of illegal, but it is quite on the up and up. It just is not processed through Canon USA. So it is not a counterfeit. It is a genuine Canon product, but it was just manufactured to be marketed in a different market. So that all being said, people have warned that it comes with no factory warranty. I took the chance in seeing if I can go without a warranty. If you are not comfortable, then I suggest buying it through regular retail. Check back with me when the year is up, when my warranty would have expired if it has broken. I'm going to take the chance, and if it needs to be repaired, it's good enough to be repaired. Off the shelf in regular retail, it goes for about $600. Again, this is the Mark II. The Mark III was released just prior to me getting this, and that should be inundating the market soon. I don't know if it's going to bring the price of this down. I did look into purchasing a Mark III, but unfortunately, being so new, there aren't enough people who have had the chance to really use it and review it to the point where I wasn't comfortable purchasing it. Let's cover some of the favorite things I like about this camera. The number one thing is, of course, the flip-up screen. I do love this screen for when I'm doing selfie shots in vlogging. So you can see me there. I don't know if you get that on the screen there, but there is a shot where you can see yourself, and it is fantastic for doing the selfie. It also does have the 45-degree tilt screen for when you're doing overhead shots, and you'd be surprised how often I do shoot over my head and how handy that does come in. I do really like how light this camera is. It's amazingly light. It weighs, I weighed it on the scale before I did this video. With the battery in, it weighs 11 ounces, so it's fantastic light-wise. When you're used to toting around a DSLR for the day, I mean, when I did the tour of Europe, carting that thing around when you're walking 7-8 miles a day, it gets to be a bit tedious, where this is a nice size where you can throw it in a cargo pocket or even a jeans pocket. Size is a fantastic feature, and I've heard a lot of other people when they rate this the same thing. This has an amazing grip on it. This grip really makes you feel like secure while you're holding it. I do utilize the wrist strap. I'm one of those people, but the hand grip really feels secure, and most of the time I do have it mounted on my Manfrotto Pixie tripod, and I usually film with it that way. But if I want to hold it like that, it feels nice and firm. I do really like that about it. Another thing I really do like about it is the feature with the ring. This ring has many functions to it. First off, one of the complaints about the Mark I, which I've never handled, but is that it did have a ratchet action, and when you are doing video, you don't want that clicking to obviously make its way into your sound. So it does have a switch where you could do a nice smooth turn, and you can change the settings of everything this ring can do to different functions. Right out of the box when you're videoing, the function is for zoom. So you can use it to zoom in and out like a traditional lens. I don't particularly like doing that way. I'm okay using the remote button on the shutter button to zoom in and zoom out. When you get into the stills, it does function as an aperture adjustment or a shutter speed adjustment, which is more traditional to a DSLR or just a simple SLR camera. I do really like that about this ring. Another great feature that I really love about this camera is the autofocus feature. This has unbelievable fast autofocus adjustment. So if you're moving from image to image out on a location, it will adjust to focus very fast. It's quite amazing. It even has a setting where you can basically see your shot on the screen here, and you could pick a point on that shot, and the camera will actually focus on that point, and you can do that over for effect. So say, like for instance, when I was in the Grand Canyon, there was a boulder in the distance. I wanted to focus on that so it was sharp, but all the closer field of range was out of focus, so it gave you that really cool effect of having that boulder sharp while everything was blurred. That's the kind of adjustment you could do on the fly, and it's optical, it's not digital. So that's what I really like about that. This is the auto face recognition feature. See how it says Dave under my face? That means it's recognized me, and it will stay focused on me no matter where I turn the camera. So the beautiful thing about this is in a crowd of people, I can move this all around and it will know to track me and stay focused on me. That is a really cool feature about this autofocus. So that's the autofocus face ID. It's really kind of cool. I have my face obviously saved to it. I have my wife's face saved to it. When I'm vlogging out in public, it just will know to prioritize either she or I. And you can actually prioritize two to the degree of, well, between hers and mine, who takes precedence. It's really, really high-end stuff. Another thing I really do like about this is it does give you the ability to film in 1080p 60 or p30. I like to shoot at 59.95 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and then put it up on YouTube at 30 because it gives you that more movie effect. But it's great for if you want to do slow motion, you want that 60 frame per second speed because it gives you better clarity if you need to slow it down. So I do really like that about that. This also does have an amazing time-lapse function on it. I love it. I got the chance to do it for the sunset in Arizona over the Grand Canyon, and it just did an amazing job. I wasn't able to let it run long enough because we were on a tour bus and blah, 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 but it really came out fantastic. I'm really, really happy the way that came. That's a great segue into stills. Another big selling feature, as I mentioned, was the fact that this thing can take such fabulous stills. Now, if you are a photo nerd, which I am, my DSLR, I very rarely use it in any kind of automatic mode. I'm always tweaking the shutter speed and the aperture setting to try to give it a better effect. This, as a mirrorless camera, has all those features. I'll show you the dial there if you can get a zoom or a focus there. So it does have all those features, but on this last trip, I said the heck with it and threw it on auto just to see what it would do rather than playing with it. And I have to tell you, on automatic, this camera takes fabulous pictures. I mean, the stills, the richness of the colors are amazing. You can focus on certain areas. It just seems to have a smart logic to it to know how to really bang out an amazing picture. So I took pretty much all the pictures, all the stills from my trip on auto, and I'm really, really, really happy how they came out. It's got this cool little flash that pops up too. Doesn't come up automatically like your DSLR, so you have to manually engage it, but it's tiny, it's compact, and it's got a bounce feature. So look at that. If you don't want to directly illuminate your subject, you can bounce it off the ceiling using that. Really, really, really cool. It also has an ability to set the ISO to 12,800, which there's no real need for that, but it makes photos a bit grainy. But for the low light, which was the entire reason for the purchase of this camera, the low light situation, it just really, it really knocks it home. I can't say enough good things about that. Things I don't like about this camera. Now, before I purchased this, I did a lot of research and watched a lot, I mean an insane a lot of videos on other people's reviews of this camera. And it seemed as though the two major complaints were that this camera does not have a viewfinder for use in a situation where you're in bright light and it's kind of hard to see the LCD screen. I completely agree with that and knew that getting into this. The Mark III does have a viewfinder for you to use. It wasn't ready to jump up there like I mentioned before, but there are aftermarket devices that you can actually cup over the screen if it's getting to be that big of an issue. I was able to work through it, but it does kind of stink when you're used to DSLR and using a viewfinder to go back to the LCD screen all the time. Takes some adjusting, but again, going back to the size and compactness of it, I will take it. Another huge complaint by many people is the inability to use an external microphone. Now, I have not reached that level yet in my vlogging. I'm not sure if I will, but that is correct. There is no way to put an external microphone. You have to depend on the built-in microphone. Another big complaint I had was this camera, as with most cameras I've found that have onboard mics, have a real sensitivity to wind noise. Now, it's supposed to have a digital wind filter in there. I've tested it using just the digital wind filter. Not so good. I'm going to go ahead in the edit and switch to the sound that is being recorded from the G7X so you can hear exactly what it sounds like. A good resolution is to go with just a simple a wind muff, they're called. Some people call them dead cats. I hate that word, but that's what they're called in the industry, dead cat. Or again, it's a wind muff. There is a manufacturer called Mic Cover that makes covers specifically for this size of camera. You can go to a craft store and buy fuzz and glue it on there. There's tons and tons of videos on YouTube on how to make these. I found that your best bet was just to buy the manufactured one, and you literally just stick it on there. It did reduce a significant amount of wind noise, but there is still some wind noise to be heard from it. And unfortunately, unless you have one of those big wind muffs over a regular microphone, I think you're going to encounter that. But my level of production, it's fine. I'm not seeing any kind of tape closing off park benches or playground equipment like in some of the vloggers I follow. One of my biggest complaints, and I'm going to switch back the sound now. My biggest complaint about this camera, I think, and you're going to think it's silly, but when you are recording video, you have to push button on the back of the camera to initiate the recording feature. You can use the shutter release button to stop it, but to start it, you have to push this red button right here. I'm getting used to that when I'm in vlog mode and I want to start shooting. I'm ending up pushing other buttons, so I have to do the twist around. It would have been nice if Canon, when it was in video mode, to simply start and stop on the shutter button. If that is the biggest complaint, I can learn to live with it. The other problems I seem to be finding are, if you are shooting in a quiet environment such as the woods or even a room like this, I don't know if it's the autofocus. I've heard some people in blogs are reporting it's the autofocus noise or it's the image stabilization noise, but you can hear a very faint grinding noise. When I was in edit, I noticed it the most because sometimes I edit with earbuds in, and when you have earbuds in plugged into a laptop and you're doing editing, it sounds so loud, it's unbelievable. And I've never noticed it. I know there's quite a few vloggers that I follow use this very specific camera, and I never ever noticed it in any of their vlogs. As soon as I noticed it in my vlog, you can't unhear it on the other vloggers' vlogs. So it's certainly there. It's a background noise. I'm certain 99% of the people will never even notice it. Shame on me for even pointing it out. But if this is something you're considering, you need to know it. Lastly, battery life. The battery life does not last very long on this camera. I went out on a shoot one day and I had it on for about an hour and the battery died while I was out on shoot. And that is the most frustrating thing in this particular situation. I had started in Niagara Falls, and I had walked across the Rainbow Bridge, went through customs into Canada, got over to the other side of Canada, fired it up for 2 minutes, and realized the battery had died. So I had to walk all the way back. So my little story there. If you're going to consider purchasing this, do consider buying aftermarket batteries. Spares. You're going to need at least one spare. If you're going to go out in the field, get yourself a car charger that either plugs in a USB or plugs into a traditional charging port in the car. I purchased these. These are not OEM batteries. These are manufactured by a company called Wasabi Power. Now, they're relatively new, so they've been holding a pretty good charge. The reviews I've seen on this brand battery is about 50-50. Half the people think they're good, half the people think they're garbage. So far they've been good. They're about half the price of an OEM Canon battery. So if in the end these things end up dying sooner and getting rid of them, I will replace them with a Canon OEM battery. But for now, since I dropped so much money into buying the camera, I kind of had to go a little on the cheap for the battery. So that is basically it. I'm glad you stuck around this far to see it. Overall, I absolutely love this camera. I would highly recommend it to anybody who is getting ready to be serious about purchasing a higher-end camera. Again, going back to my Sony Handycam, it was a fine camera for outdoor use. when it came to doing the interior shots, it just wasn't cutting it for me. So I needed to get something a little bit better. So really, really happy with it. Highly recommend it. There are tons and tons and tons of people who took this to such a deeper level and will tell you all the amazing features that this camera can do. I could sit here for an hour and a half and give you a tutorial of how well this camera works, but I'll leave that to the experts. This is not really my forte or my niche, so I'm going to just give you the brief overview of it and how happy I am with it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You can go ahead and put them in the comments down below. On that note, I think I'm going to end this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do consider giving me a big thumbs up down below. If you're new to this channel and you like adventure vloggers, take a look at some of my other vlogs. If you like them, consider subscribing to my page. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified of any new vlogs that I put up. Till next time, bye-bye.